So this enormous thing behind me, this is my JUNGLEARIUM, and it is by far my biggest enclosure project, and it is still in the works. It is not complete, and today's video was supposed to be only of technical nature. I was supposed to do some technical stuff on the enclosure, but there have been some animal related development in the enclosure, and we need to cover that, and also plant development, a lot of plant development. I know that all of you that regularly watch my videos, the Dark Den videos, I know that all of you are aware of how this enclosure was built, but in case you are new to this channel, all of this that you can see was built by me, and I recorded everything, so there is a playlist in the description or maybe in the top comment. So if you are interested to see how this was built, just after this video go and check out the playlist. And in those videos I would always refer to this enclosure as the biggest DIY enclosure project on the YouTube, and every time there would be a bunch of people commenting how that is not true, that this is not the biggest enclosure project on the YouTube. When I respond asking to link the said videos of bigger enclosure, but the enclosure that is DIY built by a single person and not some company, and also not just one big room with a substrate on top and some climbing branches for some reptile, I'm talking about this type of enclosure, some paludarium or vivarium or whatever, but built by a single person. I never get a link that shows a bigger enclosure. And in case this enclosure do not look big, because video doesn't really serve its purpose. Everyone that came here, that check out the enclosure in person, everyone said that it is way bigger in person than on the video, because it is really big and wide, and maybe that's the problem. But look at this. If I go all the way into this corner, you see, look, my hand fully stretched. It is not reaching even 1/3 of the enclosure. And if I walk past the enclosure, look how long it takes for me to reach the other end. Quite long, right? So yeah, this is huge enclosure, and I don't really know on top of my head how many gallons, but I will write it down. And I challenge you all that like to criticize. Show me the video that shows off how someone built a bigger enclosure. I will wait. Anyhow, before we start, please look at this shirt. You see, this is me and this is Linda. It says Linda's hide right here. And apparently Linda finally got me. I'm even holding a straw or blade of grass that I used to lure Linda, but yeah, she was too fast and I was too small apparently. This was not made by me. This was actually made by Benjamin. And if you remember a couple of videos ago, I featured his web shop where he sells merch for exotic animal keepers. It was a really cool collaboration because he was sponsoring that videos, but at the same time he is actually a Dark Den enjoyer. He follows my channel for a long time, so it is cool that he started a business while in the same time he watches my videos and he's part of our community like this, and now he runs a business that is related to all of that. So really cool stuff. And now I actually became an affiliate of his web shop. So when you go to his web shop through the link in the description and you make an order over there, not only that you will of course be supporting his business, but at the same time you will be supporting the Dark Den, because a small percentage of that sale also goes to me. So everyone wins. So if you want this shirt or any other shirt from his web shop, go to the link in the description and get it for yourself. Now let's deal with the JUNGLEARIUM stuff. Where do we begin? I think that this enclosure looks smaller on the video because I'm using a wide angle lens. When I zoom it in and make it a normal video, this is actually how it looks, and you see, you cannot really see a bunch of it. That's why I actually need a wide angle lens, so you can actually see the entire enclosure when I'm showing it. Now, when it comes to technical things that we need to do, we need to do 2 or 3 things. First, we need to install a sliding door over there, so all of this is not visible. I have plastic covers right here, and I 3D printed the guiders, so I will need to glue them down there and up there, and then we cut the door to the right size, and that will be it. Secondly, I have an Arcadia Pro T UVB, and because inside we will have some lizards that require UVB, and also even though dart frogs, they don't really need UVB, but it will be beneficial for them to receive at least some amount of that juicy UVB. So we are going to install that up there. And also because of the lizards, you know, they need heat, and that means we need a nice heat spot. Therefore, I have this is a deep heat, Arcadia's deep heat projector. And also I think that we will need to protect it because, or not really, because the lizards inside will be small, and regardless of protection they will be able to enter inside. So yeah, protection is really not that much useful here. We are going to ditch this. We are just going to put this, and hopefully the lizards will be smart enough to avoid it, or they will feel the heat. The only way for them to reach this will be through the wire, and they will have some time to figure out that it is getting hotter and hotter under their feet. So yeah, I'm banking on that. But first, you know what, let's do the exciting things, the juicy things that you all want to hear, things that happened, things that transpired since the last update video. It all started right here, like 2 weeks ago. A friend of mine is keeping moths, and I told her that it would be cool to have moths hatch inside of the dark den to fly around and just hang out. I told her that, and then a few weeks after that she brought me 2 species of moths. Actually, she brought me cocoons of the moths, and I don't remember the scientific names, but she wrote it down, so, and I recorded in the video, so here you can read that. But the idea was super simple and straightforward. I would just place the moths inside of the junglarium and leave them to hatch. Once they hatch, they live for like a week, week and a half. They cannot eat because they don't have mouths, and the whole purpose is to just reproduce and die. So it wouldn't really be any big commitment to have moths flying around for a few days. It was a no-brainer to do, so I just placed them inside. I set up the GoPro camera because I hope to record a time-lapse of them emerging from the cocoon. And yeah, I left it like that and went to bed, not thinking much of it. But the next day, the horror. The cocoons were covered with ants. There were a ton and ton of tiny white ants. And if you remember back in the day when I added isopods to this enclosure, I also recorded couple of tiny ants of that size. I mean, probably those exact ants. I recorded a couple of them, and someone wrote in the comments that that species of ant is actually pretty nice to have because they have small colony. So I was thinking that not a problem if there are a couple of ants crawling around the junglarium. And honestly, after that, I never spotted ants until the day when I put the moth cocoons inside. Even though those moths wouldn't live for long, they went out not in the nicest way, by being slowly eaten by ants. Not a nice death, but I didn't even told to my friend what happened to the moths, and she didn't ask, so I'm like, I guess I will just send her this video so she can actually see. She actually got an Instagram where she posts moth stuff, so I will link it also in the description, and you can go and yeah, go to her latest post and write Petko is really sorry. That will be a nice apology. I also have an exciting isopod update. I personally collected this corkbark branch and it had these isopods on it, so I just added them inside with the branch. I have no idea what the species name is, but this was an amazing discovery for me. After months of not seeing a single isopod inside, I finally spotted a ducky isopod. I just couldn't believe that some have survived the spider onslaught. I was convinced that they are all long gone, but not only that I found one, I found 2 more, and they were all crawling on the slope. It seems that the substrate is a bit too moist for them, but thankfully the junglarium offers different habitats, so they could choose what suits them the most, and you see this one was under this patch of moss. I would be so happy if they managed to reproduce and be more present in the junglarium. I also managed to spot a few of these isopods, but unlike duckies, they were all in the substrate. And I also spotted a baby centipedes. I never added them, so just like the ants, they probably came in with the dirt or the wood, but regardless, it is awesome to have some tiny predators inside besides the spiders. They can grow to like 2 to 3 centimeters inside, so they should be easier to spot if they continue to grow. And plant development for majority was really nice. Let's start from this side. As you can see, this plant sprouted a brand new leaf. It was like a few days ago, it looked like some branch with entire different color, like this thing right here, you see. This is also new leaf in development, so this plant loves this positioning. This plant, you know, I was forced to cut this plant, cut all the leaves because the pest on the leaves, but now you see new leaves are beautiful. And there is this small leaf that is for some reason really small, I don't know why. That is like a new plant that sprouted, I guess. And you see new leaf is also sprouting. This one in the back, it appears that it kind of lacks light because leaves appear to be really thin. The plant is sprouting new leaves. I mean, it is continuing to grow. All of this is fresh and new, but it is a bit, it kind of looks stunted. And I think that the problem is, you see, it is in the shade because of this enormous leaf. But I'm going to leave it like this for now, and hopefully it will continue to grow, and then it will get all the nice light right there. Or maybe I will just try to move this leaf like this with something. Maybe I put like a branch here to push it. I don't know. We are going to see. But this plant is just crazy. In last plant video it was like this tall, right? Now it is all the way up to here, and I would honestly cut it, but I just want to see how far it will go. I don't think that it can be much taller than this, honestly. Especially if I show you how small it was back in the day when I planted it. I had no idea that it can grow so enormous. I expected something like this and not something like this. The leaves, just look at the leaf. It is much bigger than my hand. Much bigger and beautiful leaves. This plant definitely enjoys this positioning. But if it continues to grow, it will do a lot of shade in the back. So yeah, I'm gonna cut it here somewhere and keep it at this height. Also, you see, these are actually now two plants because this is the second plant that sprouted. Crazy. I love it and hate it in the same time, because I hate it because I will need to cut it. Then when it comes to this is, I believe, same genus like this one. Maybe I'm wrong, but it kind of looks like it, but it is much more compact and it is growing like crazy. Also, it is blooming all the time. As I said in the last video, I was kind of concerned that it will be too humid here for it, but nope, it loves it. Just like this plant, look at these amazing leaves. And now new leaves that look even better. Yeah, this will be the forest for the dart frogs. Dart frogs will love this environment. 8 o'clock, huh? Light turned off, sorry. This area is like made for dart frogs. They can hide under the leaves, go over there and also over there, and then at the same time they can hang on this rock, and yeah, it will be amazing. Now look at this tiny plant, huh? You see, it is climbing on the wall, and it will get intriguing leaves as it is getting bigger and bigger. I mean, taller and taller. So looking forward to that. This plant, man, I just love how these leaves look. They look so shiny and sweet, yeah. And this spread like crazy, and this spread like crazy. Also same plants you see here. You know that we put just a tiny part of this plant here. I placed it over there to see if it will survive, and now it is spreading. And also here it is spreading. If it continues like that, I will be forced to cut and trim soon. Because you know, we still need to add more plants, so those plants will need space. But this plant is really not enjoying this spot. I think that maybe the light is too strong for this plant. So I'm considering to maybe put it somewhere down. And the same thing goes for that plant over there. It is alive, but I think that something is wrong with the positioning for it. Yeah, but that is to be expected. Not everything can be perfect. And what I'm loving now is how you see, like how wherever you look there is some green things growing. Mostly mosses, but everything is covered. You know, all of this was just plain dirt that looked kind of ugly, but now it is like a living ecosystem with everything growing on top and just enjoying the environment. As I said in the last video, if you look at the frame like this, you would think that this was recorded in nature, right? Somewhere in the jungle or in the forest. It definitely doesn't look like some terrarium. That is what I love about it. It's starting to look more and more natural. And the best part is it will just get better and better. We are still not done with it. So in case you are not subscribed to this channel and you want to see what will happen, because by the end of this year I will add some animals. I mean, not all animals, but some animals will definitely come. So if you are curious about it, make sure to subscribe and watch the videos. Now that we are done with that, let's actually do some work, do some business. And first, let me show you the work that I did a couple of weeks ago, work that I was forced to do because you see, once again the enclosure leaked, and as I explained in last video, the leak actually came from the tubes that run from the drainage layer, and the water was actually coming from the drainage layer alongside the edge of the tube back down on the bottom of the enclosure, and then pulled inside and drained to the floor. And not a lot of harm done, but you see wood got stained because of that, like a lot, because it was standing water was over there. Anyhow, I decided that I need to fix it immediately, and the only problems were those long tubes that were outside of this bucket, and I knew that I need to cut them to the appropriate size. The only reason why I left them to be long is because I weren't sure how I will set up the filtration and everything, and currently you see I just have a bucket with a filter, and that is just running the water. I don't really need a filtration system because I don't have anything alive in the water section, but in the future I will add some filter media inside of this bucket to make it like a true filter, but for now it is not really needed. So I just decided on the final positioning of the bucket. I cut those pipes, make sure that everything is kind of nice and tidy. I put in new pump because last one was kind of too small for this, and it was struggling to get the water all the way up, and it was making a lot of noise because of that. This one is stronger, so it makes less noise, but the flow is stronger, so I made like part of the water return in the bucket, making the waterfall run a bit slower. So yeah, I filled it up with water, and that was basically it. Now for door system, I will have a sliding door, and these, you see, these plastic things will just slide like that, and yeah, pretty simple stuff. I mean, it is the same system as the door on top. Currently I have the door over there, if you can see them, because I moved them so I can work easier, but I 3D printed these custom sliders. Unfortunately, my 3D printer is only 30 centimeters wide, so these are the widest I can print. So I printed a bunch of them, and we will just put them and glue them on this metal bar, and then we'll need to cut this to the size. And yeah, silicone, let's go. I'm using this black sealant to connect plastic parts to the enclosures, so in theory this should work. I think that it works. I mean, it says that it also works on metal, so yeah, it should work. So all I need to do is apply it, and let's stop there and see how it goes. It takes a while for glue to cure, so we have time to align everything and make sure that it is properly placed and spaced. The bottom one should be relatively easy, but the top one will be a bit trickier to secure because we are upside down, of course. Okay, I was rethinking how to do the top sliders, and I decided to put the panels inside to make sure that the bottom one is straight and that it cures straight. And once it is a bit stronger, I mean it starts to cure, then we will do the top and also cut the door and put it inside, so the top will also cure while being aligned at the same time. Let's proceed with the panels on top, I mean with the light setup. Now if you look at the ceiling of the JUNGLEARIUM, you can see that there is some white stuff over there, and that is actually, look at this, it appears to be some sort of mold, and for some reason it is only appearing on the ceiling. All the sides are fine, but this is how the ceiling looks, and I can actually wash it off, so I'm not sure how concerning this is, but it looks nasty and it is super annoying. So let me clean that up before we start with the installation. Great timing. And since there is no door, everything is going outside. You see? Oopsie. Anyhow, now we can get the UVB out and try to gauge where we want to put the mounting points, because I need to drill the top and put a silicone on it to make sure that the humidity doesn't go into the ceiling, because that would be bad. So this is Arcadia Pro T UVB kit. And actually Arcadia was kind enough to send me this for free together with all the lighting setup in here. They have been supporting Dark Den for a very long time, ever since I built Felix enclosure back in the second Dark Den. And I'm really grateful for it because this stuff is expensive and I need a lot, so it adds up. Now let's see where we want to put this. You see right here, this will be the main basking spot. This should be the main basking spot because here I will put the heat lamp to heat this area. So that means this should also be the place where I will put the UVB. Yeah, and a little bit will go to frogs right here. One mount will go here and the other mount will go here. Get that out of the way. Drill the hole and here. Now we get something else. We need this stuff because up there I have a drywall and this is for drywall mounting or something like that. And actually I should add another one for the heat spot. Now we cover it with sealant. There, just like that. Now this just simply snaps in place like blip. Perfect. And I can just run this cable straight to that. But we need a bulb. Ta-da! It works! And for heat spot, we connect it right here. Does it work? It works? Yeah, it works. This is not a light, this just emits heat, so this area will be warmer for sure. Alright, we got it! Honestly, this was easier than I expected. Initially I thought that I will need to pull new cables, but then I remembered, wait, I have the system, it is the same system, so all just connects on one single cable. I only need to shorten them so they are tidy and nice, but first let's finish this. I don't think that it is fully cured, but it is strong enough so I don't accidentally bump it. That was the thing that I wanted to avoid. It's kind of hard to slide it, but it still slides, so I guess it's all right. This is basically it, and I made kind of a mess out of Dark Den, but we can clean that. For this, it is worth it. Now, the only thing that it is left to do in the Junglarium, actually, just one thing. I just need to tidy up the wires and make sure none of the nozzles will hit the heat spot and this UVB. And that is then basically it. Just need to add one more batch of plants and then the enclosure will be ready for first animals, first real inhabitants. Ooh, looking forward for that. And I decided that I will do the wiring off camera because yeah, that is not really interesting. And also I will do another thing that it is not related to the functionality of the Junglarium, and that is ventilation in the Dark Den. The problem is now when these two fans turn on, they blow the outside air from the Dark Den into Junglarium, and then out of these two ventilations the humid air from the Junglarium get pushed out into the Dark Den. And the problem is, I think, obvious. That is just too much humidity for the Dark Den to handle, and I need to do something about that. So I decided that I'm gonna move this fan to here, and this ventilation, I'm gonna connect the pipe, drill through the wall, and get all that humid air out of the house. So not in the Dark Den, but out of the house. I will also put another fan that will blow outside here. So when these two fans turn on, also the fan here will turn on, and it will just push the air out. That should in theory fix the problem. We are going to see. But with all of that being said and done, we can end this video. I hope that you are excited for the future of the Junglarium, because basically we are just getting started. Nothing super exciting happened so far. Those ants that attacked cocoons were basically the most exciting thing in the Junglarium that happened ever since I built it. Okay, and the duck is eating spider isopods. That is also exciting thing, but I'm actually noticing a pattern here. It looks like native inhabitants of the Junglarium are fighting against whatever I put inside. So hopefully once I add frogs and small lizards, it is going to help with all of that, because in theory frogs will keep the ant population in check, while the lizards should keep the spider population in check, at least in theory. So I hope that, before we end the video, make sure to visit Creepy Beast's site and get this shirt or some other shirts that you like. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, thumbs it up and comment something. If you want to support this channel even more, there's a Patreon page. If you're new to this channel, make sure to subscribe. Upload on Monday, sometimes live stream on Sunday, but see you again soon. Bye bye.